Welcome back, and as we promised, we are going to shed more light on the important joint Arab-Islamic summit which took place yesterday in the Saudi capital Riyadh with the participation of a number of Islamic and Arab world leaders. Well, to shed more light on the event or on the gathering, we are very much delighted to have with us via phone His Excellency Ambassador Mohamed Orabi, former Minister of Foreign Affairs. Thank you very much for being with us, sir, and a very good morning. Hello? Sir, can you hear me? Hello? Hello? Okay, it seems that we do have some technical difficulties. We are trying to contact His Excellency Ambassador Orabi to shed more light on the Arab-Islamic Joint Summit, which took place yesterday and was hosted by the Saudi capital Riyadh. Of course, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi was among the participants, and he addressed the summit, and he had a number of points or a number of messages which was conveyed through his speech. He tackled those issues, and he put the first priority of Egypt, and I think also of all the Arab leaders who spoke in the gathering. It's an immediate ceasefire. It seems that we have now via phone His Excellency Ambassador Orabi. Thank you very much for being with us, sir. A very good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you?
Sir, as I said in my intro, that we are going to shed more light on the important gathering which took place yesterday in Riyadh. And in the speech of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, of course, he thanked Saudi Arabia for hosting this summit in very critical, hard circumstances with the atrocities and with the barbaric actions of the Israeli occupation in Gaza. Before going into detail, sir, tell me about your vision regarding the important points which were tackled in the speech of the President.
I think President Sisi, he was so specific, and I think he addressed certain subjects which were very important, and I think it should be in the priority of any action in the near future. So the President, I think he drew a roadmap how to tackle peacefully, the issue of the crisis now in Gaza. And he considered that the Arab world and the Islamic world also, they are now witnessing a very critical juncture. So we have to act quickly and try to convince the public opinion in all the countries and even the politicians in the Western countries in order to impose immediately complete ceasefire, not just a humanitarian ceasefire. So I think the address of the President Sisi was comprehensive, and in the meantime was trying to tackle the nitty-gritty of the issues. And I think we should, I would say that the final statement by the summit, I think they touched all these the items President Sisi mentioned in his speech, which is, I think, is a good thing, and even they endorse what Egypt is doing in order to facilitate the humanitarian assistance to the people in Gaza.
Yes, sir. And regarding the diplomatic efforts, I mean, since you mentioned the final statement, which included a number of points which were also included in the speech of President Sisi and other speeches by other leaders who addressed the nation, indeed. Well, among the results, the formation of a committee comprising a number of top diplomats from Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Palestine, and Turkey to convey this message to the international community and to insist on the establishment of an independent Palestinian state with Al-Quds as its capital in the frame or under the umbrella of the Arab Peace Initiative. How do you see this issue, and how do you see the formation of this committee?
I believe it is a very important step. And I think we should embark on vigorous diplomatic efforts in order to deal with the Western countries, in order to convince them that there is no time now. We have to jump in certain actions And in the meantime, the first priority it should be the ceasefire from both sides, of course. And this will give us a sort of impetus to the how to implement the Arab Islamic Summit declaration. And but anyway, this will be an important step, but it will take a lot of efforts, and we should exert all the diplomatic efforts by this group or this committee. And I think they are able to convince the others with our views, because you know these countries, they have a lot of good influence on the Western countries, and they have a very good connections with them. Of course, Egypt will play an important role, a pivotal role actually in this committee, because you know we are the hub for all the assistance. And I am sure that the international community will listen to what, they will listen to their approach. And in the meantime, this might be very good results after that. But the problem that we don't have time. This is, you know, the main problem now, because each minute it means, you know, killing of Palestinian people in Gaza, which is a very bad thing, and we should act quickly and try to convince the international community that, okay, this is the right time now to stop all the hostilities. And I guess this will be the first step, and a very important step.
And also it revealed in front of the international community how the Israeli side is that stubborn, and they are putting those obstacles in front of the humanitarian aid. And unfortunately, as you kindly mentioned, this means the killing of innocent babies in incubators in hospitals. And it was said, and it was very much clear, that only now very few, maybe less than 10 hospitals in the Gaza Strip are introducing this health service, but the rest of the 35 hospitals are out of action due to the lack of fuel, in addition to the bombardments. How do you see now the pressure on the Israeli side, at least to implement a humanitarian truce for the access, or for guaranteeing the sustainable flow of humanitarian aid to the Gazans, including fuel, water, of course electricity, communications, medical supplies, you name it?
I think the Israeli government cannot resist the international pressure, especially from the normal people in all Western capitals. I think you witnessed yesterday a lot of demonstrations in different capitals. And actually, we are watching the violence and the atrocities of the Israeli forces on the TV every day and every minute. So all these things, actually, it will have a sort of incremental pressure on Israel. And I think they will be obliged to succumb to the wishes of the international community, and tried even to implement this truce for a few hours in order to allow the humanitarian assistance to be with the Palestinian people in different places. But the Israelis, they have their own mind and their own plan, and I think they will start, or let us say, they will continue to bombard Gaza, and even put Gaza under the siege. And I think all these things, it should be dealt with or dealt by the international community and the Security Council and many other organizations in the world, not just the Arabs, or not just Egypt, not just the Islamic world, but I think this is the responsibility of everybody, especially the UN Security Council and many other organs of the UN.
Yes, sir. And in fact, many of the Arab and Islamic leaders yesterday, in their speeches, they really thanked Egypt for the pivotal role and for being the only source of humanitarian aid to Gaza, and to receive the humanitarian aid coming from all over the world to whether El Arish airport or to the Rafah crossing, to guarantee or the safety or the access of humanitarian aid to the enclave. How do you see this, and how do you see also now the responsibility, as you've kindly mentioned, regarding the lives of people, not only for the, of course, the strikes and attacks, but also for the humanitarian aid?
Well, I think yesterday it was so clear that all the gathering, all the leaders, and in all the speeches, actually, they expressed their gratitude and appreciation to what Egypt did since the 7th of October in different fields. But of course, most of them, they were maybe addressing the point of that Egypt is the main facilitator for the humanitarian assistance to the Palestinian people in Gaza. And of course, this is our responsibility, I mean, as Egypt, and Egypt is always in the forefront of any action to help the Palestinians. And this will demonstrate that Egypt can be instrumental in any peaceful talks in the future. And I think we will have, or let us say, we will exert every effort in order to implement the ceasefire, and then after that we can embark on a serious peace process in order to give the Palestinians some hope that
this was my coming question, sir, because it was also said yesterday in many of the speeches that what is taking place is the result of the political deadlock, and of for the lack of communication, and for losing hope that the two sides can return back to the negotiating table and can reach comprehensive peace, which also all the Arab and Islamic leaders yesterday said that it cannot be achieved except via the two-state solution. If you want to elaborate on that too.
Sure, yeah. I think, you know, the solution is so clear, and we can reach it in a very, I would say, minimal efforts. But unfortunately, the Israelis are so adamant now, and they don't see the peaceful solution, and they never, I would say, try to accept the idea that a Palestinian state should be the immediate neighbor of Israel, and they can live together peacefully and in a good atmosphere. One day, the Israelis, they will realize that the price of peace is less than the price of war. And I think one of the good things of the 7th of October that the Israelis start now to think that they cannot achieve their targets or their goals with power, but they could be also achieved by peaceful talks. And this might be even more comfortable for everybody, and it will not cost anybody souls or money or even weapons and so on. So the Israelis, one day they will be realistic, but I don't know when that. But I think the situation in Gaza now, it will force them to start to rethink about their approach towards the issue. And they might one day also try to have peaceful talks and go to the negotiating table and try to reach a sort of agreement with the Palestinians. I think this would be the right thing for everybody in our region and even in the world. But we need some pressure from the United States and the Western countries, and we have to embark on serious peace talks. But of course, you can see that the international situation is not so ripe now for these things, because we are on the verge of having the American election very soon, and I think the American administration will be busy after that. So the Israelis, they will try to exploit this period in order to implement their targets by having more settlements, more occupation for land, and so on. So the whole situation actually needs a sort of urgency, and we have to pressure on that. I mean, as Arabs and as Islamic world, that we should start immediately. And but of course, the situation is not so good, so that we can claim that we will have a peace process in the near future. But we should try, and I think this would be the right thing to do.
Let's cross our fingers that tomorrow is going to be a better day and we are not going to lose more innocent lives. Well, Ambassador Mohamed El Orabi, former Foreign Minister, thank you very much for your input, sir, and have a very good day. Right after the short break, we are going to return back with more, so stay tuned.